Hey guys, it's me, Seren, back with another video. It's Tuesday, right? Yeah, Tuesday, December 23rd. So it's 2 days from Christmas. This might be my only video for the week. So happy holidays, everyone. This video is kind of a follow-up to my last one because, as I'm sure you guys have seen, this Azealia Banks interview has just really garnered a life of its own. It's actually really funny because, as I said in my other video, she literally only talks about Igloo, Australia for like 1 minute out of her 47-minute long interview. But of course, all this chatter and everything has kind of revolved around Igloo, Australia, and cultural appropriation and black erasure and smudging. Pitchfork actually released a really great article yesterday called The Year of Black Erasure, which is excellent. I'm going to link it because I want you guys to read it. And Complex followed up with kind of a funny holiday appropriate article called The Grinch That Stole Hip Hop, talking about Igloo, Australia. I thought it really interesting that Pitchfork and Complex, which are two, pretty major, especially Pitchfork, pretty major, mainstream, music outlets, posted these, and kind of took Azealia Banks' side. I thought that was really cool and really interesting. And this thing has just like really turned into like this big, huge, debacle. You have some other, rap artists kind of weighing in. Solange chimed in. She supports Azealia Banks. Tyler, the Creator, chimed in. He supports Azealia Banks. Q-Tip said that he supports Azealia Banks. And then Q-Tip actually talked to Igloo, Australia on Twitter. He wrote her this like long series of like tweets, kind of outlining the history of hip hop and why people have an issue with her. And it was actually really intelligent and like really well thought out. He wasn't trying to like come for her. He wasn't insulting her. He wasn't really even talking about her whiteness, because people think that we have an issue with her whiteness when we don't. Really, the hip hop community has embraced tons of white artists. Why would we all of a sudden decide, we're not fucking with white artists anymore? Like after Eminem and Action Bronson, who also got involved, he sent out some tweets to Azealia Banks. And they got in a little brief mini spat or whatever. But there have been tons of white rappers that have been embraced. So a lot of people are trying to really explain to her and break it down that it's not about race necessarily. A lot of people just feel like, you, Igloo, Australia, are, part of a larger thing, a larger issue. Just like in my video where I said, racism is like an octopus and, police brutality is only one leg. This is kind of a similar thing. This is bigger than just Igloo, Australia. This is just not about anybody personally having beef with her or not liking her or whatever. This is about, what is happening in hip-hop, what is occurring in hip-hop, what is occurring in R&B, what is occurring in music, that, we have these black art forms and these black sounds that are being, really relished and appreciated, and yet our white supremacist capitalist mainstream society is telling us that this black art would be better, would be more interesting, coming from a white face. That's the issue. That's the issue. So for anyone that doesn't understand, I don't understand why, you're mad at her because she's white, No, no one's mad at her because she's white. This is bigger than her. Erase her. X her out. Go watch Azealia Banks' interview again, and anytime you hear her name mentioned, just fast forward so you can hear the rest of what she's saying. Because it's not about her. It is about the erasure of blackness in, the mainstream music that's out right now, and the era that we are in right now. Billboard, they released their list of top 10 artists, and for the first time in like 30 or 40 years, the artists were all white. Even though the majority of the artists were rappers, and R&B singers, with the exception of like Taylor Swift or something like that, we have this black influenced, black created, black cultivated music come out of these white artists that are, receiving these awards and these accolades and all that stuff. And people are finding it to be problematic that you have black artists that are making the same music and better better quality, more creative, more inventive, but they're not being recognized. So this is just really turned into this huge thing. I'm kind of surprised at how largely this is like blown up, but I'm also really excited that this has kind of been catapulted into the popular consciousness because it's something that needs to be discussed and addressed. You know, Azealia Banks, that interview has gone viral. It's gotten like over 1 million views in only like 3-4 days, which is pretty incredible, you know, that people are actually watching it, and even if they don't understand that, they're, you know, at least seeing what she's, you know, what she's saying. And then you have your people that are coming out of the woodwork to defend Igloo Australia. My new blacklist is getting real long, but I'm happy because Lupe is one of the people that came out. Lupe the Fiasco rapper, he came out to defend her, talking about she has a place in hip hop. He about to have an album coming out, Tetsuo and Youth, which I was gonna buy, but not anymore. Like, I'm not even gonna listen to that shit. I'm gonna delete all his music off. He was like, oh, she has a place in hip-hop, and people are just mad and hating. And then people tried to, like, ask him, like, well, what is her place in hip-hop? And he got upset, talking about, don't worry about what I'm saying, and go get your groceries, and this and that. And then he tried to, like, backtrack, like, oh, y'all want to call me a new black Uncle Tom? Well, fuck y'all. Y'all was half asleep in African-American studies class, and, you know, this white bitch, she making pussy pop and rap music. Like, whoa, bro, like, okay, you're a dick. Not supporting you. You have will.i.am come out with this, like, series of just, like, absurdly ridiculous tweets talking about how rap wouldn't have became shit without fucking Blondie. What? And her song Rapture, you know, which is insane. Someone said, like, and we're watching the whitewashing of hip-hop history right before our eyes, because, like, now we're going to say that, like, hip-hop was started by, you know, a blonde white woman, Blondie, and her song Rapture. Another shoe-shining fucking coon. Tons of people just showing their asses. Nelly, another one, showing his ass, you know. And it's interesting. I was talking to my husband about this, and he says, you know, all these older rappers, Nelly, you know, T.I., will.i.am, Lupe, he's like, all these older rappers need to shut up because they don't understand what the musical climate is like now. He was like, and I love that he said this. I was like, babe, you're fucking brilliant. He's like, all these older rappers came up in a different time. And at the time when most of them were coming up, there weren't any white rappers, you know, except for maybe like Eminem. There weren't any, you know, the high levels of, you know, cultural appropriation. And, you know, rap was still, you know, rap was mainstream. It was the mainstream, you know, dominant culture. But at the same time, you know, in the early, especially like in the early 2000s and shit like that, at the same time that you had rap, you had really pop music was coming back. You had the huge pop groups that were out, Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and 98 Degrees, which we also all loved. You know, Britney Spears was out, Christina Aguilera, and you had this kind of resurgence of pop music. You still had tons of R&B that was out, Destiny's Child and Black and TLC, and then you also had rap. So you had all these different genres. You had all these different things going on. There weren't that many white artists, you know, in our platforms, because pop music was like still really popping. You had singers, Jessica Simpson, you know, all these people. It was almost like there was enough space for all of us. And I kind of think, and my husband said this is what he said, and I agree, that you have these older artists that are still kind of operating under that mindset of, well, there's enough room for everyone, because in the era that they came up, there was enough room for everyone. But now we're just living in a different time, and that's exactly what Azealia Banks was saying. And the time that we're living in right now, there's not enough room for everyone, because you have these white artists that are getting all the awards and the accolades and the praise in R&B, in rap, and pop, and you have black artists, as I said in my Grammy video, being relegated to the urban music and shit like that. And, you know, the people that have really been supporting her have been younger. Tyler, the Creator, you know, Q-Tip, he's an OG, you know, Q-Tip the Abstract. He's very socially aware and very conscious, so, you know, it doesn't surprise me. But a lot of the other people that have been really supporting Azealia Banks have been younger artists that have been trying to come up in the current musical climate. So I feel like they understand a bit more, whereas you have these older artists that are just kind of like shrugging their shoulders, like, well, I don't get why it's such a big deal. Like, you just don't get it. Like, you're old. Sorry. You're old. You don't get it. You know? So it's just really interesting the way this is fucking blown up, and the way people are talking about it. I'm just really happy to see people are talking about it. They didn't just say like, oh, crazy Azealia Banks is like talking again, but they're like really talking and having conversation. So I'm going to include links to the Pitchfork interview and the Complex piece that I want you guys to really read. Of course, you have the mainstream white media, which is just like, oh, poor white girl is being like piled on by these like awful mean niggers. Don't read none of that shit, because that shit will fucking make you angry. Trust me, it will piss you the fuck off reading that shit. You know, Q-Tip tried to be nice to her. This bitch responded with the most dismissive, disrespectful tweets. I'm not gonna sit on Twitter and play Hollywood squares with strangers. Like, bitch, you're talking to fucking Q-Tip the abstract. Like, show a little fucking respect, bitch. You're talking to a fucking legend, you disrespectful white fucking trash. Like, that shit really made me upset. Like, if I fucking ever come across this bitch in real life, like, I'm praying to run into this bitch in New York City so I could just punch her in the fucking face. Like, you're a bitch. You're an awful, horrible, terrible person. You don't respect anyone. Your white privilege is just off the charts. You think you could just say and do whatever you want to anyone, and you just don't have any fucking respect. No respect. He didn't even come at you wrong. You talk about I'm not going to sit on the internet and play Hollywood squares with strangers. Fuck you, bitch. Like, fuck you for real, Igloo, Australia. You're a bitch. I hope y'all have Twitter and shit. Like, please tweet her this shit. I don't have Twitter. When I did have it, she blocked me, so... There's just really disrespectful, but then she'll say in the next breath, like, oh, I love hip-hop, I'm so passionate about hip-hop. Like, but you're not. You don't even know who Q-Tip is. Talking about you're going to sit on the internet playing Hollywood squares, hip-hop squares with strangers. Like, Q-Tip the abstract is a fucking legend. Like, a Tribe Called Quest. Like, look him up, bitch. Like, cut the shit. Cut the motherfucking shit. Anyways, see, that shit just got me hot just thinking about it. 2 days before Christmas. Stay positive. Keep your positivity. Read the links that I'm going to post. Don't read the white shit because it's fucked up. It'll make you mad. And again, this will probably be my only video of the week. So, happy holidays. And hopefully see you guys next week. I'm not 100% sure exactly when New Year's is, but I'll try to get something out. See you guys next time. Food for thought as always. Peace.